Hello Virgo, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for year 2022. This is for the Sun and the Ascendant. Now I'm going to give you some big themes that are going to be active for you this year, share your solar return wheel on the screen shortly, and also explain the solar eclipse series, which significantly changes this year. The pattern of Mercury, which of course is your ruler, the shift of Jupiter into the sign of Aries and then back into Pisces. We also have a north node change on the 19th of January, so there's so much to get through. It's so exciting. But first of all, thank you so much for joining me. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. I've been doing YouTube videos for probably about 15 years, but for quite a lot of that time I haven't actually been very well, so any kind of support that you give me would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link beneath this video and you can do that, and that is a great asset for you. Or if you'd like to ascend above your zodiac sign forecast and understand what year 2022 holds for you based on your personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, you can get your 22 forecast plus a character analysis. If you order it in 21, you can get the rest of that year free, plus 30% off. If you order in 22, you get 12 months from the time of the order, plus the character analysis, and still 30% off. So, first of all, we need to understand the energies that are present as we make our way into this new year. And the reason for that is the solar eclipse, which occurred on the 4th of December, was very important because it linked with your ruling planet of Mercury. So we had the Sun, the Moon and Mercury all together in the sign of Sagittarius, which is very much about how you feel comfortable in your environment. It can be at work, it can be when you're out and about. We all have that sense of where we feel at ease. And that particular solar eclipse was really informing that for you. Why am I talking about that? Because it occurs with only 3 weeks of the year to go. Therefore, the next 5.5 months are supported by the energy of this particular eclipse. It's still active. And also, the timing of this eclipse sees Venus, the planet of relating, in a conjunction with Pluto. In fact, they're going to be pretty well side by side within 3 degrees for the whole of December. Now, Pluto is about transformation, Venus is about relating. So how you relate to others is going to be a major part of the story that 2022 holds for you. But let's fast forward into those first minutes of the new year, because then we get the solar return, and this will be a backdrop for the whole of the year. Imagine going to an art class and the tutor saying, take your canvas and put a background colour on it. Pick up your charcoal and outline the image you want to draw in more detail. That background of the watercolour and the charcoal will provide the energy that will take you right throughout this year. It's just that as events unfold, we get more detail to colour in those images in a much more vivid way. So the solar return is really important. So on the screen you can see that we have the Sun, as always, in Capricorn, which is your sector of creativity, fun, sociability and self-expression. But Venus is also in this location, allied still with Pluto. So why is it that they're still together when they were together on the 4th of December? So that solar eclipse on the 4th of December shows Venus in a conjunction with Pluto. Then on the 19th of December, Venus goes into a retrograde. So by the time we get to the solar return, they're still very close together alongside your ruling planet of Mercury. So that stellium of Venus, Mercury, Pluto, Venus retrograde, and also the Sun in the 5th house really informs what this energy holds for you this year, because this is about you really being natural, things flowing for you. You're a very disciplined sign. You often can be very organised, very good at providing services for others, but you're really being asked to embrace passion this year by this combination of energy, because Venus in the 5th house could see you developing in its alignment with Pluto some very deep desires. But if you also see on this solar return wheel the position of the Moon and Mars pretty close together in Sagittarius. Now that's a bit of a volatile mix, suggesting that something could be a bit changeable around where you live. And the midpoint between the Moon, which is how we feel things, and the Sun, how we drive things, is actually at 28 degrees in Sagittarius. So that's your 4th solar house, still very much to do with emotion, security and protection. So the solar return is very much about fun and self-expression, but in a way which makes you feel comfortable and safe. So there could be a change of residency. You may want to add to your family. You may be looking to get spliced, but something big around your emotions, but in a way where you're really flowing, is perfectly possible this year. So it's really exciting. Now, of course, the dominant influence of last year was the square between Saturn and Uranus. And in fact, it got repeated again on the 24th of December. If you look on that wheel, there they are once again in a right angle within 3 degrees. And they will be through to the 21st of January 2022. So for you, Uranus is in the part of your horoscope to do with escapism, independence, individuality, freedom around travel. Obviously, that's been a major issue for us all. And also around your philosophies. But because Saturn's in your sector of duty, that dutiful part of your nature has felt compromised by another part of your being that's wanted to be freer. So that's made you, I feel, at times, feel a bit stressed in the last year. And that influence is going to be echoing out still this year, but just not as strongly. And part of the reason for that is that if you look on the wheel, the North Node is just in the sign of Gemini, and it is squaring up with Jupiter in your sector of relationships. So it could be that someone in a position of influence is inspiring you in some way as this new year begins, but by the 19th of January the North Node reverses into your sister Earth sign of Taurus, where it will be for 18 months. Now the North Node is almost like the collective consciousness of us all, and I think that this is going to make us think even more intently about the state of the planet, how we can use resources. But for you, it is very much about also embracing a more independent-minded part of your spirit and your nature, and not being caught up quite so much in the routine of fulfilling particular functions in a very precise and ordered way, which is very much part of your being. But I think you're reaching a part of your life where you need to shake it up, and that's going to be a major trend in 2022. And it's not just because of that North Node, it's because there are 2 eclipses in your 9th house as well. So we have 4 very active energies in that 9th house, and the 9th house doesn't like being cramped. It's very much in keeping with the energies of Sagittarius. You can see even the changes that are going to go on in terms of your emotion or your home life are very Sagittarian. You need to be a freer spirit this year. That's really what I feel all of this is informing us. Now, of course, your ruling planet, as I said before, is Mercury, and it's going to go through 4 retrogrades this year, but only complete 3 of them. And the reason for that is the 4th, in the last 3 days of the year, is in your sister Earth sign of Capricorn. But from the 14th of January, Mercury slams on the brakes in your sector of work, but then reverses by the 3rd of February into your sector of functionality, of expressing, that functionality, that work in a more creative way. And that's going to be a pattern all through the year. So on the 11th of May, the Mercury retrograde in Gemini, the other sign that's governed by Mercury, like you, that is your 10th house of success, but it rotates backwards into your 9th house of that need to be more expansive. Then on the 10th of September, it's going to be in your 2nd house of resources and then return to your sign. So what we've got here, I feel, is a very earthy, even though these retrogrades all begin in air signs, for you, they're very earthy. They're about practicality. And then they return to parts of your chart where you have to find the inspiration to change things. And that's just worth bearing in mind. Now, the solar eclipse, which occurs on the 30th of April, is in your sister sign of Taurus, and it is conjunct Uranus, but it also forges a brilliant sextile to Mars in your sector of relating. If you are single and you want something dramatic to happen around your love life, it really can be triggered from that point. But by the 16th of May, the lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio is informing you how you think needs to become a bit more emotional. Not just because of the Scorpio energy. Third house energy is brilliant for thinking things through, but not necessarily for being in touch with how it feels. So the Scorpio element of this, particularly as it forges a sextile to Pluto, which is very much about transformation, will be helpful to you. Then on the 25th of October, we have a solar eclipse in Scorpio. Don't be surprised if you change your mode of transport in the last quarter of this year. And then there's a lunar eclipse on the 8th of November back in the sign of Taurus. So this is saying that you need to feel free, even if you're changing some things at the root of your existence. So if you're in a job or a lifestyle or approach or a pattern of being that is very metronomic, which is part of being a Virgo to a degree, this year is going to challenge you. Not least because on the 10th of May, Jupiter also moves into the galvanizing, start me up sign of Aries, to paraphrase the wonderful Rolling Stones. God bless, rest in peace, Charlie Watts. So what we have here is a push for you to be more entrepreneurial in your approach. So that need to shake things up, express your ideas, interact with people, take more risks, not just be pinned into that routine. It's really boosted by the role of Jupiter too. But Jupiter's not necessarily going to be a total panacea, because by July the 28th it goes into a retrograde. So that could mean that anything you are trying of a more business nature or trying to shape your finances in a different way, that could slow down. By October the 28th, guess what? It's back in your sector of relationships, where it spent part of last year too. By November the 22nd, it goes direct. There could be a bit of a tangle, therefore, across that month from, it's about a 3-week period from October the 28th through to November the 22nd, where cross wires are possible in a relationship. And then December the 21st back into Aries, and something that may have sort of lost impetus around the business situation could pick up. But you do have a colossal extra additional asset this year in the guise of Mars, which on the 20th of August climbs right to the top of your horoscope. Mars in the 10th house gives people a lot of extra confidence, more assertiveness. They can be in a public role quite comfortably. So if people have Mars in the 10th house in their natal horoscope, particularly in the sign of Leo, then they seem to draw a lot of attention. Now in the sign of Gemini, where this is, for you in your 10th house, this is about work. But Gemini, of course, is about communication. But you're also about communication, but you like to see practical results. And you might feel that Gemini energy is a bit wishy-washy, lots of chit-chat, but not a lot gets achieved. Well, I actually feel that your voice is going to be heard a lot more from August the 20th through to the end of the year. It's just that from the end of October through to the year's end, well, Mars is in a retrograde. So this is an extended journey. If you think back to 2020, Mars went through an extended journey in the sign of Aries and had 3 big collisions with Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto, which made the last quarter of that year quite tasty in a not very pleasant way. But I think Mars in the 10th house for you gives you a perfect platform. So if your job is an area that's not giving you much pleasure, and remember Saturn does continue the whole of this year in your sector of work, and Saturn can be about limitations and frustrations, I think what Mars is saying to you, how can you repurpose your skill set? How can you set your goals and ambitions into a new era for you? And it may require you to break out of just doing a particular role that up until now has worked well for you, because the whole of this year is about passion for you, Virgo. It's not necessarily just being the support person. And I'm not saying that that's not incredibly important, because it is, but it's not so important to you if the stars as they are conspiring to push you into the spotlight. You're coming onto the stage and all the spotlights are coming on and everyone's clapping, acknowledging all those skills that you have, but thinking that maybe you can do more, or maybe it's you that's yearning to do something more, much more exciting. Which brings us to your new moon. So the new moon obviously occurs once a year in each zodiac sign, and this occurs on the 27th of August, but it does square up with that Mars position. So when you give yourself some kind of makeover, or you put impetus into an ongoing strand, or you start something new, Mars is pushing you, and it's square with the Sun and the Moon, to be more daring. But of course it may be counterintuitive if you're someone who is more cautious, checks things out meticulously, and I really respect that about Virgo energy. So that could feel a little bit unsettling. So there is going to be a big opportunity from the time of that new moon, but it may mean that you've got to step outside your comfort zone. But in a way, even though the solar eclipse of the 4th of December, the solar return with that conjunction between the moon and Mars in your 4th house, along with the midpoint, are all saying security is important this year. There's just so many other pointers to push you to engage with the wider world in a much more dynamic way. And that could see you moving around a lot more, getting more active, getting fitter, at times probably feeling a bit stressed out with trying to spin all the different plates. But the thing it is going to be this year for you, Virgo, as long as you seize the opportunity, is really exciting. Now, if you'd like to check out my special offer on your personal astrology, please see the link beneath this video for your year 2022 personal forecast, character analysis, and the rest of 21 free, or from the point of order in 22 for 12 months. And that's absolutely, totally uniquely based on your situation. No two reports are the same. Please see the link below. There's 30% off. Take care, good luck, and goodbye.